Good evening, James.
Good evening, Sailesh. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, thank you for having me.
How is it going with the distribution of the movie?
It's been a really exciting, busy, hectic past few months. It's been going really well, really well. We were thrilled with, I think, particularly the response from non-vegan publications when it was
Mhm.
released in the UK. So it had a theatrical release in the UK. So to be able to play it in the Odeon and the Light Cinemas, etc., around the UK was really big for us because it meant that we could, it was reviewed in the likes of Total Film and it got really good reviews in the Guardian, in Time
Mm.
Out, etc. So the fact that non-vegan publications seem to really warm to it and really appreciate what we've done was really nice because we always knew that it's one thing for like vegan food and living, just as an example, to be positive about the film. We would kind of expect the vegan publications to
Right.
champion the film, but the fact that so many non-vegans and so many vegetarians, omnivores, etc., and then non-vegan publications champion the film was really nice and really positive.
Yeah. So, people are talking about the ending.
The
Super
ending.
inspiring. Yeah. Super inspiring ending, especially calling your mom at the end and
Yeah,
saying
that is.
thank you.
We get asked quite a lot if that really is our mum. It is genuinely our mum. And Tom and I genuinely have never eaten meat. We were raised vegetarian initially, and then went vegan. Yeah, my parents went vegetarian just before she was pregnant with me. So back in that would have been 1984. I was born in 1985. So yeah, it seemed a nice way to come at the story. And I kind of the bit before that, the ending with the photos on the table,
Mhm.
I knew before we even started shooting the documentary that it was kind of going to build to that point. I knew that this was all linked. So the environmental crisis, the way we treat the animals that we
Right.
share this planet with, the health side. I think everything was kind of interlinked to there. So I kind of was just piecing all of that together, and it was how it could kind of build to this kind of crescendo. But that seemed as powerful as that is, it seemed quite downbeat. So I think it was important to then finish with the athletes and then finish with the thanking of our
Right.
mum.
Yeah. Very well done. That's part of the directions that you do, right? That's
Yeah.
right. So is Tom at the vegan camp out?
So Tom's at Vegan Camp Out. Yeah, we've split roles today, which has been we've done this quite a lot actually through the tour, doing different Q&As together. So Tom's there's a screening of the film at Vegan Camp Out, and he's doing a Q&A with three of the doctors from the film. So Alan
Mhm.
Desmond, Alice Brough, and Manil Patel. I'll be doing a Q&A with Tom at that. So we're really excited about that. Yeah, Tom has said he will absolutely be available for the next the vegan cop event if you want him and you want to talk about the film, if you want to do anything, he absolutely would love to attend.
Okay. Yeah. The next one we are planning to do a hybrid of in person and online. So,
Oh, amazing, amazing.
so if Tom wants to come to Arizona, we can do that too.
He wouldn't say no to that, I'm sure.
Yeah. So any questions from the audience? How long did it take you to do this? When did you come up with the idea and how long did it take to execute on it?
So it was 4 years. The initial Tom had the initial idea. He wanted to do something in this space. So we'd been working um, in the film industry. Tom's a director and an editor by trade, and I'm a screenwriter and a producer. So it works. We complement each other quite well in terms of certainly from in documentary filmmaking. Tom wanted to do something in this space, really passionate about doing something within the activism space, but he didn't know what that was. So he approached me, kind of gave me a few ideas. Um, And I said I agree. I'd love to do something in this space as well, but I didn't want to do something that had already been done. So we've had some really, really powerful documentaries. We've had things like Cowspiracy, What the Health, Game Changers, and then some of the animal rights kind of documentaries as well, like Earthlings, Dominion,
Mm.
etc. So I didn't want to kind of retread what they'd already done. So I didn't want to do just an environmental one or a health one, because I think we've already had excellent documentaries that have focused in that area. And rather than focusing on a documentary that kind of tells people why they should go vegan or why they should go plant-based, I wanted to look at the reasons that we'd heard all throughout our childhood and our adult life as why people won't go vegan. Because
Hmm.
obviously, as never eating meat ourselves, we've heard everything over the years, as you can imagine. So I thought to kind of flip it and do the reverse of it, and then the result is still the same. You are kind of at the end, the kind of the message is why people should, transition to a vegan diet. But I just thought it was a nice twist on it. Initially, we looked at maybe just exploring the 5 or 6 biggest reasons that people say why they wouldn't go vegan. But a few weeks into it, I thought that was no fun. And I thought, let's really challenge ourselves and let's do as many reasons as we can think of, which is probably why it took 4 years, because then, a
Mm.
couple of years into the journey, it was like, this is ridiculously huge now.
Right,
So,
right.
and everybody we spoke to was like, you should speak to this person. And then there was somebody else to speak to. And then the editing process, because we had so much content. And there are reasons that didn't make the final cut, because it was so difficult to get it down to, approximately 90 minutes. But yeah, so it was 4 years in the making. And then, yeah, that was how it came to fruition.
So would
Um,
you make all the other reasons available online?
yeah,
People can say,
that's the
look at
plan.
clips.
Once the film's available, it is to just to release them on social media, on YouTube, just for people to see, because there are some good, there are still some some good reasons. So some of the reasons that were coming up, you might think were a little daft. I mean, we had a 2-minute animated sequence for Plants Field Bane 2, which has always seemed a daft reason to me, but we still hear it quite a lot. So we
Right.
actually did have a 2-minute sequence animated for that, but it just didn't make the final cut.
So Lisa is asking, what is the general receptivity in non-vegans to this movie? Is your perception that people are actually catching on to going vegan as a response to what's
In
happening
the
around us?
in the cinemas, when we were doing, certainly at the screenings that we were at, because we were doing Q&A, we did a Q&A tour around quite a lot of the cinemas in the UK, and we always asked by a show of hands how many people are vegan, how many people are vegetarian, how many people are omnivore, and it varied from city to city, but there was always a good chunk. I mean, in Sheffield, it was about 50-50, I remember. There was
Wow.
about, I would say about 50% of the cinema, and it was full as well, were non-vegan. So that was really nice to see. And we did have quite a few non-vegans come up to us afterwards, to thank us and say it's given them lots to think about. Some said they were going to, they were going to go vegan overnight, that kind of thing. I mean, whether they do, who knows? But I think the fact that it's got people talking, it's got, it makes people think. And even if it's the case that they end up reducing massively, but we obviously want people to go vegan, but I do recognize that everybody is at a different stage of this journey. I know one of the people that we've worked with since finishing the film, she's now vegan 6 days of the week, and I've just watched her process, that she's been working with us the last 9 months on the film, and I've seen her just closer and closer to being fully vegan. And now there's only one day on a weekend where she isn't vegan, and you can see the difference that the film can make, and that's just from working on the film, from seeing the film. So
Mhm.
it's just, how do we get non-vegans to watch vegan
Right,
documentaries? That's always been the challenge, hasn't it?
right, right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, in that sense, this documentary is the reason I thought it was a great idea, is that it intrigues
Yeah.
non-vegans, and people want to know. Oh, yeah, I know. I could never go vegan either, and I want to watch it.
It's funny with the title, because when I came up with the title shortly after Tom had spoken to me about it, but it's quite a provocative title, and I don't think it was necessarily obvious to everyone when they heard about the title, whether it was a pro or anti-vegan documentary. So I'd get quite a lot of people when they'd hear the title of the film say to me, "Oh, I could never go vegan either," and then they'd start to tell me why, not realizing that it was a vegan documentary. But that was fun because it meant that we then got to have a conversation
Right, right.
about it. Yeah, it was, that was fun.
So I mean, this is why I think this documentary is a great resource for vegan outreach. So Ray, do you want to ask the question?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a great segue because my wife and I run an organization called Veganabler Collective. So we enable people that are ready to go vegan. So this is maybe a backstop for documentaries like this, and it's exciting as a resource. I hope that you'll have more resources available. I love the that you footnoted right on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little bit tiny and hard to read, but the message is there. It's not distracting from the interview. There is a footnote for any time that there's facts on the screen, which is an interesting approach to documentary. I like that.
And they're all available on the website as well. So we did recognize that it was going to be now and impossible for people to read them when they were on the screen and they were watching the film anyway. But I think just to give it that authenticity and that kind of seal of approval from a kind of scientific background, it was important to have that there. But the citations are all available on the film's website for people to go and have a look afterwards. And we've had some universities in the UK, we've had some kind of academics come to watch the film that have now taken the kind of citation list to put with their on their university website, so which is really nice.
Our concept is that we're not vegan outreach, we're assuming the vegan transformation. And we want to support that with lots of facts, but we're not going to people and saying, you should go vegan. I'm looking for the people who already want to go vegan or recognize that this is the direction that we're going. And we just see this tidal wave of popularity of veganism. And the Veganabler Collective is anybody who wants to help facilitate. They want to help the people that have already made that commitment. Because we see that there's going to be a tidal wave of people that want to know how to do vegan. So I think this is a way that we could be involved, like I said, backstop the people who are convinced by your documentary. And many will be.
Amazing.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's amazing what you're doing as well. And I agree. I think it's only going to grow. I genuinely believe that. And I'm sure everybody participating in today would kind of echo that as well. I think it's on an upwards trajectory. Absolutely. Yeah.
So when will it be available online for people to use as a resource like this?
So we will be announcing that very shortly. It will be available in the UK, the US, and Canada this year, though. I can guarantee that it'll be available in the UK a month before, and then the following month. I'm hesitant to give the specific date just in case anything falls through, but it will be within the next 3 months for the UK. Okay. And a month after for the US and Canada. And we might be able to sneak Australia and New Zealand into the back end of the year as well. But if not, that'll be in the first quarter of next year. And France, Poland, the Netherlands, and Germany are the 4 European countries that we're quite close to as well. I mean, ultimately, we want it released everywhere. It's just challenging climate with in the documentary space at the moment. But yeah, the UK, the US, and Canada are done and we'll be announcing very shortly.
Wonderful. Good. So my mother was wanting to know if the documentary could be played much slower next time. So it's apparently the English accent is not so easy to grasp for her. So once it's available online, you can play it at slower rate.
Yeah. It's funny because obviously, and you can probably tell from my accent as well, me and two of my brothers, and we're from Yorkshire, which is the north of England, for maybe some people from England here today, but you'll know it's quite a strong regional dialect. We've had a lot of positive comments about that because it's nice to see a regional UK accent versus probably the more traditional Californian accent, or right. Kind of a lot of these documentaries are American based typically. But I do recognise that if you're not from the north of England, you might lose the way we say vowels is a little bit different, and you might I was forever saying to Tom, you need to say that again. You need to articulate and enunciate better.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to understand you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do appreciate that. And obviously when it's available online, there'll be subtitled versions as well, and potentially alternative language versions as well. Looking at Spanish potentially at the moment, but yeah, there'll certainly be subtitled and closed caption versions available.
Okay. One question is about the funding. How much funding did it take, and how did you go about securing it?
So we did it we had a few really generous, incredible people that believed in the project, and it wouldn't have got over the line without those individuals. You'll see some of them were listed in the executive producers. And we did it we put together a really small proof of concept, which is quite common for documentaries, just to kind of showcase our vision, the kind of ideological kind of standpoint of the documentary, if you like. And from that, somebody saw what we were trying to do, backed the project, and that allowed us to go away for a year and shoot a huge chunk of the footage. It was during COVID, so, and because Tom is a director, has all his own kit, he's an editor, I'm like I said before, I tend to produce. It was just us two on the road, so it was a real skeleton crew, because it was just us two, I would say, for 90% of the footage. I think there was maybe on the food testing day we had a second camera op and a sound team, but we're quite self-sufficient from a documentary standpoint because we've been working in the industry for so long now that we can kind of do multiple roles. And because of COVID anyway, it just made it easier. You were kind of in your unclosed bubbles back in 2020 and 2021 anyway. So we shot it, all in all, we made it for probably a lot cheaper than most people expect. I know when it actually came to talking, as we've been trying to, to distribute it, I think they were surprised at what the budget was, but it is still, we did still have to raise a decent amount of money. And like I say, we wouldn't have been able to do it without some really generous people that backed the project, saw what we were trying to do, and also believe in a kind of world. And I think everybody has been so supportive, and also the people that were in it were so supportive as well with their time, because that's the other thing. Everybody that was in it, no one got paid to be in the documentary. Everyone was generous, giving of their time because they believed in what we were trying to do. The doctors wanted to champion a predominantly or a complete whole food plant-based diet. The athletes wanted to shout about, their kind of elite performance because of their dietary pattern. Everyone that was in it was so gracious with the time. We owe so many people, we'll forever be in their debt.
That's such a nice way to put it, James. Thank you for that. Yeah. Any other questions for James before we let him go to sleep? It's an excellent project. So I'm so glad that I got to know about it and got involved with it. So.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for supporting it, Sailesh. Yeah, Tom and I are so appreciative. Thank you for screening it today for everyone. If anybody does have any questions that they think of later, please just reach out to me on either LinkedIn or the film's Instagram, because we handle that ourselves. So Tom and I, we always respond to people, and we're happy to chat about the film. So.
And best of luck with making it available very quickly, and
thank you so much.
The distribution. Yeah,
thank you so much.
I'm sure you're going to get piles more accolades from the media.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, sure.